That is if you are doing sadhana. This alone by itself will not make you spiritual. This is like basically one fine day you go and have a good food at a restaurant and you love it, and you every 2 months you go, but you still have to eat your dal and rice at home or whatever regular food you have. How do you know that it is not a spirit? I mean, most people will not even understand that if it is a higher level power or it is a spirit that is entering.
My question, it was related to events which are related to a Devi Shakti entering a person. So I'm from South India, and since childhood I've seen, in Devi temples, women who enter a trance, sometimes men also, a trance-like stage, and then people go and like pray to them, And Hindus, we do believe that Devi Shakti can enter into a person, and this is not a higher level person as you are talking about. These are like simple people. So it's like an altered state of consciousness. So is it possible for a normal person, without doing any of this higher level of chanting and thing, to just have that experience? What would your thoughts be on that?
Definitely. There are certain kind of temperaments it requires in a individual. And in fact, somebody who is an expert, he can actually look at a person and say that whether such a person is capable of having that kind of experience. But this is only a high level answer. There are many more nuances in this. So when we say that there is a divine force or divine Shakti that is entering into a person, and what you're talking about, what it state of possession for a certain amount of time, and it's prevalent across India, not just in South. Yeah, I've seen in Maharashtra, I've seen in Bengal, seen in the north in hills and all that. The quantum of force that will enter into the person, the nature of the force, etc. It depends on a lot of factors, but also primarily on the mind and body of the individual who is becoming a vessel of that force. Okay, so this is very important. Not everybody is pure enough to hold very high caliber forces. Sometimes it could be a local deity, sometimes a partial force may enter, number one. And sometimes, this happens very often, if they keep repeatedly doing this, it will have an impact on their body. And some kind of breakdown or something like that can happen. Is this possible? It's very much possible. Is this helpful in the sadhana? That is if you are doing sadhana. This alone by itself will not make you spiritual. This is like basically one fine day you go and have a good food at a restaurant and you love it, and you every 2 months you go, but you still have to eat your dal and rice at home or whatever regular food you have. Unless you're doing sadhana, if you're properly doing sadhana, and suppose such a person has this kind of an experience, you integrate both this two, then it becomes a powerful thing. Remember, the key to spirituality is some degree of control over the process. If you have no control of what is happening, suddenly something is coming in, something is going out. How do you know that it is not a spirit? I mean, most people will not even understand that if it is a higher level power or it is a spirit that is entering, unless you are an upasaka and you know what the signs are. Spirit can also tell you various things and stun you by revealing knowledge that you think is impossible. All said and done, develop a system of sadhana. As an individual, if you have to enter into any of the paths, you have to have a core system of sadhana that will stand by you through anything in life, whether it is a mystical experience or whether it is a day-to-day life, or whether you are simply having a fight with somebody else, or you are watching some good serial or something like that, whatever. That should become fulcrum of your existence. Once that is there, then that upasana, whatever you're doing, and it's assuming the upasana of a higher deity, whether it's Shiva, Vishnu, or anybody, some of the major deities. Once it is working, once the mantra is working, that mantra is your best friend. It's closer to you than your father, mother, friend, wife, husband, son, anybody. And that mantra is going to tell you, guide you according to its nature, where you have to go, what you have to do. It will reorganize your life if the mantra is correctly working. And then you watch all experiences. You see this kind of an experience, somebody getting possessed, you see some other experience, you learn something from it, you see if it is helpful for you or not helpful for you, and have an open mind and navigate the path. That is how it is. So these experiences happen. Most of the cases, they don't make people spiritual, because the experiences that happen to these people are not well digested, because they don't have a sadhana regime, most of the people. So it is more organic kind of experience that happens. In another way of looking at it, there is a certain eruption of what is known as the secret force inside every human being, the kundalini. Partial eruption of the kundalini, and it identifies with the deity to some degree. And at that moment, that certain amount of extraordinary power comes in. But that by itself is not, again, not going to make you spiritual unless you follow the traditional. Spirituality is hard work. But the mystical aspect, all that aside, it's very, very hard work. If you're not doing the hard work, you will not get the result. This is the bottom line of nature.